Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I try to do my best. It's not up to me, the Rumble thing, but I also publish in my blogger and also on Patreon everything that I do here on YouTube, and of course the Twitter stuff, or X, or whatever you want to call it. I also publish there just in case you want to keep up with things. Regarding the gaming series, today is Saturday. Tomorrow I'll be off. I will not do anything, but I'll take advantage of today and tomorrow to maybe try to record some extra episodes so I can keep it up the thing, and then the next gaming episode will be on Monday, starting off with Void Bastards and then Evil Within and then XCOM 2 in the days following that. So today and tomorrow no gaming episodes, so I'll try to record like extra episodes so I can have some stuff on the background so I can don't miss out and just publish, so I don't have the things that happened during this week, but it's a lot of work, then I don't have time even to record the daily thing. But yeah, I'll try to do that during today and tomorrow so I can keep everything on schedule. Regarding some gaming news, we don't have a lot of the hardware stuff. That there has been some Intel 14th generation, so basically the 14900K, if not mistaken. It is what it is with Intel. It's basically a 13900KS in the skies. Basically, it's very marginal performance between each how do I say it, between each generation. It only compensates if you let it, I don't know, every 2 or every 3 generations you might notice some improvement, a tangible improvement in terms of how the CPU performs. So basically it's the same thing as the previous generation, like margin of error like 5%, give or take. But yeah, then you see a lot of news breaking records and everything, but that's for extreme overclocking with liquid nitrogen and all that stuff. So it's don't concern yourself too much with these things. Yeah, my recommendation is, if you are like any other component, if you are happy with the performance at the moment, there is no need to upgrade. But yeah, that's the only thing that I saw that caught my attention. I didn't get too much in depth, mainly because Intel CPUs really usually are from the previous generation. It's, like I said, 5% usually increase in terms of performance, so it's not noticeable. But yeah, regarding gaming news, got Alan Wake PC requirements came out. Saw some videos, but yeah, my main take is, again, here it doesn't seem that you will need specifically the DLS, the upscaling stuff. I think this is doesn't need the frame generation because it doesn't support on the GPUs they launch here, except maybe for the 4K thing here. But yeah, mainly because it's terms of performance. But yeah, I don't know if okay, for the results here, in terms of what they are trying to do, this is a very comprehensive one. It gives us a good idea what they are trying to achieve here. But yeah, the minimum specs are on par with, because people tend to forget this at this instance, Alan Wake 2, it's like basically a huge revision of their Northlight engine, which is the even from Control was the last game that they launched with this engine. It's even improved from Control, and Control was for a time like the benchmark for ray tracing kind of things there. And I think they ramp up the engine to push up the limits of your hardware if you wish to do so. But the minimum spec seems pretty decent. I assume that they just put the LSS just I don't know, as a developers, just to justify that I don't know, it's quality stuff, so it's kind of making assurance that you at least hit the minimum targets here. It's 1080p 30 frames, an RTX 2060 or even a RX 6060, 6600, sorry. From this kind of performance, I think it's on par, even without DLSS, I suppose, even though the graphic presets is a low one. We'll see how it goes. You got the even like the CPU is very old, like a 7th generation Intel i5 7600K or AMD equivalent, which should be the Ryzen 3000 series, give or take, which is basically the minimum requirements here for all of the CPUs here, basically. Yeah, basically it is minimum 7th gen, which indicates that the engine itself, the game engine, is more pushed to the graphic side, so it demands more of the GPU instead of the CPU. But again, the CPU, you can have some CPU bottlenecks, and I think that there are a lot of people that have way better now at this moment in time, because 7th generation is very old. I got my old laptop was 8th generation i5. I don't know, remember which exactly, but I know it's 8th generation. But yeah, it is like 5 years, this laptop. So it's, I suppose people have something way better than this. And this usually has to do with frames per second. They are putting the FPS as 60 frames, like the maximum. But I think it's an indication of the stable 60 FPS. I assume that even with these configurations you can achieve way better, even though, for example, ray tracing, I don't know why people think that with these new GPUs the ray tracing will work even better than before. Ray tracing still has a huge impact in terms of performance of a GPU. That's why even with the 4080 and even with the 4090 you will have to turn on DLSS to reach around 60 frames, like a stable 60 frames or more, to play in 4K. Even though 4K it's more achievable in terms of the consumer in buying hardware for 4K, like minimum. But yeah, 60 frames, I assume that they try to fine-tune it, because this game is not very actiony. It has some shooting parts, but I think 60 frames, it's like the sweet spot they try to achieve. I don't know. But yeah, in terms of even with GPU stuff, you got for 1080p 60 frames per second, which is like around the recommended kind of zone here, with a 3070 with DLSS performance or FSR2 equivalent. Yeah, I think you can even with graphics preset at medium, I think you can achieve pretty good. They are already considering the 4070 4K, which is not very suitable even for the 7800 XT. These GPUs are not very well made for 4K. They can handle like decent amount of 4K if you put it like in low, between low and medium. They might handle 4K, but they are not made for 4K gameplay. This should be around like a 4070 Ti maybe, or a 7900 XT. 4K medium to high settings, basically, of course without ray tracing on. And I assume the 7900 XTX and the 4080 can handle 4K 60 frames high without any issues, a little bit above 60. I think this is like they're trying to squeeze out like the mid-range segment of the GPUs here, to justify them to turn on like the FSR and everything. But even the engine itself, it's like a newer version, so it will demand a little bit more of even older GPUs and the newer ones. In terms of ray tracing, again, yeah, this it's ray tracing high, path tracing on, so it's this part here, medium and high, it's just full on throttle. And of course you want to activate supposedly the upscaling to performance mode. It will not hit too much on the CPU, mainly because of the intended FPSs above S60 for sure this will not be sufficient to CPU, but I assume people have a good CPU, so you can lower a little bit the graphic presets so that the CPU can keep up with the GPU in terms of demand of frames here. But yeah, I don't think this is the best. It's very comprehensive, but I think you can juggle around here. Again, I think this should belong on the, if you want to play 4K high settings, not ultra. I don't think they have ultra from what I'm... okay, they have ultra in terms of the ultra experience is not the graphic presettings like ultra, so high it's the highest it can go. Yeah, I think if you have a 4080 or roundabout, or even the 7900 XTX, you will be okay-ish without turning off performance mode or turning up upscaling and getting experience around 60 frames per second. I assume that some optimization that will come out throughout the patching of the game will might alleviate some of these PC requirements here. In terms of VRAM, again, it will demand a little bit of the VRAM here. So I think 16 gigabytes with the textures and everything, I think it handles pretty well. Again, if you maintain the 4080 or 7900 XTX, I think this setting for Ultra, it's supportive, can support 1440p 60 frames without putting upscaling there, I assume. But yeah, RAM 16 gigabytes, not that much, and of course SSD is now recommended because there's a lot of data to interchange between the files and what you see on the monitor here. So SSDs, no NVMe is required, so it's kind of on par what we'll be seeing to a certain degree. But yeah, what people are talking about a lot is the fact that you have to have supposedly FSR or upscaling technology on in every setting. I think again this is like what they what they have in terms of GPUs and CPUs and systems to go around and tinker with the settings. This is what they recommend to get this kind of experience with this hardware. So they are, I suppose they are squeezing the max that they can out of the hardware that is presented here. But I think if you have like one tier above in terms of hardware, I think you will be fine not turning on DLSS and FSR2. But yeah, we'll have to wait for reviews with people have and some analysis. I assume Digital Foundry will try to get around that, and some other independent people that usually do game analysis regarding in terms of performance and regarding the tiers of the hardware they presented here, to see if it is close enough or if you are you have more leeway with the hardware that you have. But yeah, I will keep my eyes on it because it's an interesting game that I want to play in the future. So I will keep my eyes peeled to see if I can check any kind of videos that goes more in depth regarding this, if it is true or not. If you have to have basically upscaling activated to have a playable experience, because I'm not very fan of upscaling technology. I think it's like trying to cheat your way out of making better GPUs to a certain degree and trying to, I don't know, sell you technologies to a certain degree that yeah, instead of improving the hardware and optimizing the software to use the hardware, they are making not the best way, because supposedly, again, upscaling should be something to improve on like older GPUs or older hardware that cannot handle like current stuff, current software, in this case games, or to enhance even more what you already have from your GPU. And we saw a lot of games that they are using the excuses of basically using upscaling for not optimizing their games, which can be done. I think the last case is basically Starfield. You get a lot of tank performance, especially in the big cities. It's also mainly because of the engine itself. It's an old engine, and they are squeezing out maximum of the engine can give. But yeah, it is what it is. I will try to keep my eyes peeled to see like analysis regarding this, and I will let you know anything that I can check out. We got some mods here, especially for not Cyberpunk. Sorry, this is the patch one. It's not a mod. Sorry, 2.02. So patch 2.02. Basically, it's coming soon. Supposedly, it's basically fixing some stuff and rebalancing some courier missions, timers, and more, and some stuff here and there that is done. Cyberpunk getting downgraded to tier 1 after updating the game version. But and I suppose some performance patching and what they do, because the 2.0 it's like the last big kind of update. We saw like the police system rebalancing, I want to say the skill settings, the skill trees and everything, that they rebalance everything. Also the transmorg stuff and a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not very in line because I didn't play the game. I'm waiting to have a good opportunity to play the game. This is now a good opportunity. If you never play the game like me, I think now it's what basically they promised before launch. I think Cyberpunk with this version will be way more playable. But yeah, patches are coming soon. They will continue to support the game throughout a few times, just for patching and stability stuff there. And of course you have a lot of mods to improve your experience. Just make sure that they are compatible with patch 2.0 at least, and I think you are good. Mods we have for Starfield, they introduce now a mod, Interplanetary engines add in-system travel without using the console. Basically, supposedly there was a mod that you can travel within the solar system without, basically, it is possible to a certain degree with the vanilla game, from what I understand, to travel between planets, but it takes like hours to achieve. So it's kind of realistic, but in terms of gameplay loop, unless you could travel between planets, make it a little bit shorter with some like random instances between travels, it might be adding some fun to that. But I think it doesn't. You don't get anything. It just wastes you time. But this one basically has like interplanetary engines, which basically increases the speed to not 11 but a million or something like that. You have like here, yeah, you got like 2 million speed. Usually I think the speed is like 180 or something like that. The maximum speed in game around the planet stuff when you're fighting and that stuff, it's like 2 million something or more. I don't know. I cannot read very well the numbers, but it's a lot of numbers. Basically it does is just accelerate to almost below light speed, so below a little bit of the peak load, and gives you a little bit immersiveness to the game, because from what I understand it's a lot of quick loads, a lot of loading screens all over the place that are happening in game for you to enjoy. And for a game that supposedly is very immersive, it breaks a lot of the immersiveness of the game itself, which is a shame. Again, I think the game itself has a lot of great systems working behind it. It's how they use the system, especially with the loading screens. You enter something, you have a loading screen. You enter the ship, you have a loading screen. You exit the ship, you have a loading screen. It's a little bit of a mess there. You land, you have loading screens all over the place for a game that supposedly it's like to a certain degree more immersive than ever. It's a little bit annoying. I understand like loading screens between, at least, I don't know, between solar systems, or even in the solar system. When you land on a planet you get a loading screen, but everything that then you should do in the planet should not have like a loading screen. Even entering like entering buildings, or because you enter a building, you just, or entering like a cave or something like that, it's just loading screen. It's very frustrating, and it's very immersive breaking. And especially if you don't have like a good SSD, let's say, all the loading screens, instead of taking like 1 or 2 seconds or 3 seconds, it will take you like 30 seconds or 15 seconds, something like that. It gets throughout time, from what I understood, people get a little bit frustrated with that loading screen experience, and that's why a lot of people are a little bit disappointed with that. Mainly I think it's the way they promised the game. They were not forthcoming. They said, okay, we got the engine like this is the best we can do. Hope that the experience will be good. There is ways of doing this or whatever. But yeah, hopefully they listen all the complaints and manage to introduce some other stuff, like for example this mod, interplanetary engines, and make it like way better. I don't know, something like that, to travel between solar systems. I think it's possible, at least between that, have like a good experience in that regard. Because if you do, even with we have a planet, you have the moons, you have to basically get a loading screen for travel between moons in the same planet, so it's a little bit frustrating there. But yeah, this one avoids using the console, getting this thing that I show you on the video, and the guy itself has a lot of mods here. Some of them seem interesting just by the title in there, but yeah, it is what it is. I don't know, the more honorable ships, if you're spending a lot of time, I don't know how it works with like having a fleet of ships. I don't know how that works, but yeah, you got a lot of stuff here from this guy. It seems some interesting, more immersive helmets, maybe less HUD that appears there. I don't know. We'll see how this will go, because it's going to be a long project, a long-term project for Bethesda. We'll see how it goes in terms of improving the game and DLC stuff. We'll see how it goes. And regarding gaming deals, we still have, again, to claim if you want the Evil Within one and Eternal Threads. I don't know what this game is, but the Evil Within one is the most interesting out of these two. To claim on Epic Game Store for free. Of course, it doesn't have the DLC stuff, it's just a base game, but it's very interesting. If you never played, I made a series out of it a long time ago, and I'm doing currently the Evil Within 2, which is the next one to be free here on Epic Game Store. Also, we have now the Plague Tale. The two games are on sale, so 50% on the second one and 80% on the first one. I never played these games. This seems kind of interesting, the setting, but yeah, they got very positive reviews, so I think that the story is kind of good. At least I know it's like the plague stuff at the time, supposedly the setting. There is a plague, then I think the boy has some powers here. Regarding controlling the plague or something like that. I'm not sure how it goes, but it seems relatively interesting by the fact that they did the second game, so it sold well and people like the game in that regard. We got Children of Morta. This is one of those pixel art style with isometric view, hack and slash roguelike elements here. I think you're like a family of guardians, and then you start with one, and throughout the game you unlock the rest of the family stuff here. A lot of powers, and it has a co-op, but I don't think you need co-op to enjoy the experience of the game. I think it can be done like in solo plays. But yeah, and you got the complete edition here, 73% off, $7, which is a good price for a game like this, with all the DLC here. Seems pretty interesting how they went about this game. Again, the story seems pretty interesting, and it's got very positive reviews. One of those that I will try and see how it goes. Maybe do a gameplay series on this one. We got Atomic Heart also, 44% off. But if you want the gold edition or the premium edition, I never know which one is the best. But I think the premium edition has all the DLCs upcoming, like season pass and stuff. I think they already launched one of the DLC contents. It's one of the labs, underground labs. I think it's like the main loop. It's checking out the experiments they did on those labs. But yeah, mostly positive, so around 70 something. It's very reminiscent of kind of Bioshock and stuff. But yeah, it's one of those that I'm very interested in play on. I downloaded the demo, but I have to arrange time to record the demo and see if it piques or not my interest on playing the full game here. But yeah, it's on promotion, 34% off the base game, 50 the gold edition and the premium edition. But yeah, you have a demo to try out, as I do, so you can check if it's something worth buying. But yeah, seems pretty interesting. The mechanics that they implement here, very Bioshocky in the feeling, but with a lot of twists regarding that. And lastly, we got for today Cyberpunk Verminfall. Again, got a demo for this one. Very interesting, very pixel arty, very kind of XCOM-y in the playstyle here. and of course you got you're basically running away from a city, from the plague kind of a thing. Here you got a lot of rats that you need to fight to get around this. But yeah, you got the demo if you want to, and it's 20% off. It's a game from this year, and I think it's seems pretty interesting how they're going about it. If you like this kind of games, there is a lot of interesting games around Steam, but it's very hard to find them because there is a lot of them that are not that good. But yeah, this one seems one of those that's it's got a very positive feedback, and I watched a little bit from Christopher Odd's gameplay of this one. He tries a lot of these kind of indie games. He's very he likes very much like kind of XCOM games kind of a thing there, so a lot of turn-based games, and this is one of those, and he tried out and he enjoyed it pretty much. From at least that's the feedback that I got from what I saw. And yeah, basically for today this is it. I will just plug in my Patreon for extra support. Again, the extra support will be more in line at the moment for storage, for me to have backups of the project from my private clients, and of course have more space for videos that I do for the channel. Basically that's it. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.